Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. For today's class, you just need a yoga block, 2 if you would like, and we're going to focus on pelvic floor, so finding the deepening of the connection for your abdominals. This is a great class for anybody, but it's a particularly good class for new moms. However, it does have, or moms in general, but it does have a lot of flexion, so if you have not been cleared to do flexion yet, then I would definitely avoid this class, and we will get started. Start, just let your arms relax on your legs and take whatever position with your legs is comfortable. And then just think about sitting up nice and tall. Really find your sit bones. If you need to move the fleshy part of your butt out of the way, go for it. And just think that your ribs are stacked right over your hips, and then try to relax through your legs so you're not totally gripping through the hips. And then just let your front ribs soften a bit. If it helps to bring a hand onto them, go for it. And then you're just going to take a nice big breath and try to think about really expanding your rib cage in all directions. And then on your exhale, just feel what happens to your stomach, whether it's with your hand or just noticing. And then take another inhale. Really feel your ribs expand. And then exhale. Maybe feel them start to come a little bit closer towards one another. And then again, this time you're going to take an inhale. And exhale, you're going to feel that little lift of your pelvic floor as you exhale, which may start to lead to a gentle pull in of the lower abdominals and then the closing of the ribs. And then take a big inhale, let everything release. And exhale, start at the bottom of your pelvis. Find that little lift of the pelvic floor, little squeeze, the wrap of your abdominals and the ribs. And then 2 more. Inhale here. And exhale. Feel that lift. Feel the ribs draw in and the abdominals just engage slightly. And then release. Now go ahead and grab onto your block, and you're just going to place it out gently in front of you, but make sure that your shoulders are nice and relaxed. Take a big inhale here. And you're going to exhale. Squeeze the block as you lift your pelvic floor, draw the ribs in, and the abdominals wrap as well. And then inhale, release slightly with the arms. Keep that little lift of the pelvic floor as you deepen your abdominals a little bit more. And then again, release the hands. Inhale. Exhale. Lift and squeeze the block. Good. 3 more just like this. And you want to think that your pelvic floor and your diaphragm are like an elevator. They go up and down together, and you just breathe at your own pace. And they go down, and then they contract and lift up. And think that, as you're inhaling here, you're maintaining some of that tension and connection through your core, so you're not releasing all of the way, but you can still expand your ribs and take a nice big breath. Last one, exhale. Good. And now if you are sitting on top of your block, you're going to take it away, and you're just going to hold your other block right out in front of you. Take a big inhale, and then exhale. You're going to round halfway back, feeling that lift through the pelvic floor, wrap of your abdominals, and then on your inhale, sit all the way up top. And then exhale, roll halfway back. And inhale, stack tall. Arms are nice and bent. If you prefer to straighten them and bend them, do whatever works for you, but just make sure you're not locking out those elbows. You want them to stay nice and soft. Finding that opening through the hips. 2 more. And last one. Good. Stay here. From here, you're going to take a big inhale. Keep that little lift in the pelvic floor, and then start to extend your arms up towards your head. And then exhale, deepen your abdominals and extend your arms in front of you. You can straighten your legs here if you like. Lift. And then exhale. Feel that deepening as you lower your arms down. 4 more. Again, you're not completely releasing the tension in the abs or the contraction of the pelvic floor. Lift and lower. Last one. And then reach your arms forward over your legs. You can place your block down for a second. And just round forward and you can shake your legs out. And then just bring your right knee bent, ankle more or less in line with the knee. And then you're just going to take your left arm and bring it to the outside of that right leg and then press up through the right leg and take a little twist. And take a nice big breath here. Exhale and try to give yourself a little bit more space to twist. One more breath. And then come back to the center, slide your right leg long, and then bend the left. And then same thing. So right arm comes around, and then left arm presses you. Make sure you're staying up tall. And try to use your breath to give you a little bit more space through the spine to move. One more breath. And then release yourself back to center. You're going to grab onto your block. Bring the legs out long again. You're going to reach the arms over your legs. Arms nice and, or soft bend rather, in the arms. And then give it a little squeeze. Feel the lift of your pelvic floor. The engagement of your abdominals as you start to round back. Keep reaching your arms forward and think about your heels sliding with you as you roll down nice and slowly, one vertebrae at a time. And then you're going to reach the arms overhead, but keeping the back ribs connected. Inhale and take a nice big breath. Let everything release here. And then start to find that engagement, pelvic floor, the wrap of your abdominals as you bring those arms forward. And then inhale, come like a quarter of the way up. And then on your exhale here, you still have that lift of the pelvic floor. You're going to round all the way forward over your legs. So we're going to make this next one a little bit more smooth. So you're going to round down, tuck the tailbone under, find space through the front of your hips, heels slide with you, reach long through the arms, and then reach overhead. And then exhale, start to lift. Think about your heels reaching away from you as you round up and over your legs again. 2 more. You can go at your own pace if you prefer to go a little slower, pausing on your way up and on your way down. And arms overhead again, keeping those back ribs connected. This time you're not letting go completely of the pelvic floor. And last one. We're going to come all the way back up. Last time. Make sure your shoulder blades are staying on your back, trying to use as little momentum as possible. And then slide yourself all the way to the front of your mat. Stretch one more time over those legs, and now you're going to peel all the way back and come onto your back. So you're going to pause, laying down on the back, and then bend the knees and bring the block in between your legs. You can have it the narrow way. You don't want the wide way between your legs, you want the narrow way. Like this. Okay. So, we're going to go back to breathing here before we move on into anything else. You can bring your hands to your ribs if you'd like, or one hand to your ribs, one hand to your abdominals, whatever feels right for you. And take a nice big inhale. And then you're going to exhale, feel the lift of your pelvic floor, the wrap of your abdominals, and the drawing together of those ribs. And then inhale. And give the block a little squeeze. You may find that that helps you find the pelvic floor engagement, having something to contract, especially from those inner thighs. Exhale. And release. 2 more. And last one. Now you're going to keep that lift of the pelvic floor, a little bit of engagement through the legs, or through the abdominals rather. Take a big inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to float both legs up into tabletop. Readjust your block as you need, as you're going. Just make sure it's not right on your knees. And you're going to inhale. And exhale, squeeze. And inhale. And exhale, squeeze. Here, you're really thinking about engaging through the inner thighs and actively squeezing on that block. And release, and give it a little squeeze. 4 more. 3, 2. So it's a little bit longer of a squeeze. Last one. Good. And then slowly lower your legs down on your exhale to the floor, not letting your abdominals puff up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to bring your hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers and then bring your hands to support the base of your head, and then tuck your chin under ever so gently. Have your gaze be down your nose, and then lift the head, neck, and shoulders up. And then when you're at the top, just let your head be heavy in your hands, making sure that you are not jutting your head forward, and then release all the way back down. And then lift and give that block a little squeeze. And lower back down. Going at your own pace. Moving up into your abdominal curl on the exhale. Think about sliding those ribs down towards your hips. Your abs are not puffing up towards the ceiling. And one of the ways that you can avoid that extra pressure and doming through the abdominals as you're lifting or really doing any ab work is to make sure that the pelvic floor is engaged and you're breathing, because you can't really do one without the other. Last one, you're going to pause at the top. And you're going to rotate over towards the right side. Think sliding right hip over to left. And then left rib over to the right hip. And then staying lifted in the center. Again, making sure your head is nice and heavy in your hands. If you feel a little shaking, that's fine. I am. And over to the right. Alternating one side and then the other. Staying lifted. This is the perfect example of where you're not completely releasing that pelvic floor, but you're still breathing through the ribs. It's just a little bit more shallow of a breath. One more time to each side. And last one. And then come back to the center, and then lower yourself all the way back down. Bring your arms by your sides. Take a nice big inhale here. Let everything go, and then on your exhale, lift those legs back to tabletop. Readjust your block if you need. And then you're going to bring your hands back behind your head. Knees stay right over your hips. And then take a big inhale. Exhale, lift. And then lower. So we're making this a little bit more challenging. We're just going to do 2 more like this. Head is heavy. Last one, you're going to pause at the top. And then you're going to squeeze the block with that head lifted now. Inhale and squeeze. And squeeze. 2 more. And last one. Good, and then from here, you're going to lower your head all the way down. Reach your arms straight up towards the ceiling. If you want them on the floor, that's totally fine. You're going to extend your legs away from you just a few inches, and then bring them back in. Check in with the ribs, with the abdominals. Make sure that you haven't lost the back rib connection. We're going to do 2 more here. And then we're going to lift our head back up again. Last one. Good. And then from here, hands behind the head, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. And we're going to combine all 3 of these things. So you're going to let your legs come away from you. You're going to squeeze the block and bring it in. And then release the legs. Lower them away from you. Squeeze the block and bring it in. And lower away. Squeeze and bring in. 3 more. Really taking nice deep breaths. You may notice that you feel this a little bit more intensely with the focus to your pelvic floor. We're not necessarily doing anything differently than what our body does kind of automatically, but paying attention to it can make things even more intense. I said 3 more and we did like 6. You're going to lower your head all the way down. Give your hips a little shake from one side to the other. And then peel your head, neck, and shoulders back up. You're going to extend your legs away just a little bit. And you're going to twist and rotate as you squeeze and bring the legs in. And twist and rotate, squeeze and bring the legs in. And out. And not a very big motion here. But you're twisting on the... bringing the legs in with that little squeeze. One more time to the right. And last one. And then bring your knees all the way into your chest. Take the block out and give yourself a rock back and forth from one side to the other. And then you can give your knees a little stir and release to the other side. And then extend both legs to the ground. From here, grab your block and you're gonna hold it above your chest. And you're gonna start with moving your right foot. So you're gonna lift your toes of your right leg up. If you have socks on or wanna do this so that your foot is on the floor and not on your mat, if it slides easier, go for it. But you're gonna you're gonna just gently hold the block as you extend the right leg long. Left leg stays totally still. You're gonna squeeze the block as you drag that foot in. Feel the deepening of the abdominals and the lift of the pelvic floor as you do so. Release on your inhale, you're gonna extend your leg long. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, release. This is a great exercise to start getting your hamstrings involved and find that connection of just bending and straightening your leg all the way up into the abs. Nice big inhale. Exhale, bring it in. Last one. This time, you're going to extend your leg out long and you're going to pause. You're going to inhale here. Exhale. Squeeze the block, lift the leg, lift the head. Inhale, release. Squeeze the block, squeeze the leg on your exhale and lift. We've done this single leg lift a whole bunch of different ways, but really focus on reaching long out the back of that leg, but still keeping a little bit of space in the hip flexor, and your hips are nice and square. You're not putting all the weight into that right side, and you're not tilting your pelvis under either. Last one. And then release all the way down. Keep that gentle squeeze as you bring that leg in and then release. You can bend and straighten your arms here if you need to give them a little rest. And then on your inhale, you're going to extend the left leg long. Again, hips are nice and square. Squeeze and resist to bring it back in. Good. We're going to do a total of, I think, 6. Trying to find that engagement through the hamstring and that gentle crease of the hip as you bring it in. 2 more. And although we're giving the block a little squeeze through the arms, make sure that you're not rounding forward through your chest. Your shoulder blades are nice and wide on the mat. Good. Last one, extend that leg long. Take an inhale here. Reach through the heel as you exhale and float that leg up. And then slowly release down. Exhale, lift. Giving that block a little squeeze and lower down. And lift. And lower. 3 more. Two. Make sure your gaze is still down your nose and that you're not looking back behind you as you lift the head. Last one. And lower all the way down. Give that block a little squeeze. Keep lifted that pelvic floor as you bring the left leg in. Place the block between your inner thighs again, not your knees. And then bring your arms down by your sides. Take a big inhale. And then just exhale. Try to sink a little heavier into the floor. Think about externally rotating through the upper arms, through the shoulders, so that you're not rounded forward. If it's helpful, you can bring your arms straight up towards the ceiling so you're bent at a 90-degree angle. That helps me find a little opening through my shoulders. And on your inhale, or rather on your exhale, you're going to give the block a little squeeze And then tuck the tailbone under, keep squeezing, and start to roll yourself all the way up into a nice bridge here. And then give the block a little squeeze and then peel yourself all the way back down. And release, and then curl the tailbone under and lift up. Thinking about the ribs and the hips being in the same line, but those shoulder blades stay on the floor. And then release. And last one, this time you're gonna come up and you're gonna hold. Readjust your block as needed. Good, but holding here at the top, you're just gonna feel the engagement through the abdominals, wrap up the ribs. You're gonna let your hips drop just an inch or so, give the block a little squeeze, and then lift. And then lower, give it a little squeeze, keep feeling that lift. So now you're just really deepening through the pelvic floor, you're not releasing. 5 more. Down, squeeze, lift. And if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can bring your arms up. 2 more. And last one. Good, pause here. Squeeze the block, lower, release, and lift. Squeeze and lower, release, and lift. So we're just reversing what we were just doing. And then go at your own pace here, really feeling the inner thighs, the glutes, the hamstrings, and the entirety of your abdominals. Like, there's no muscle here that's not working. Your arms are working. 4 more. Full body exercise for sure. Up. And last one. Good. Pause at the top. And then you're going to curl the tailbone under and roll yourself all the way down, 1 vertebrae at a time. And then take the block out, put it by your side, and bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. You can rock back and forth from side to side, whatever feels nice. And then you're going to actually place your feet back on the ground. You're going to take your block, this will make for a nicer stretch. And then put your block right underneath your hips and sacrum so you're totally supported here. And bring your right knee into your chest and extend the left leg long. And then just think about having an imaginary weight on this left thigh so you get a nice opening through the hip flexor. And take a few breaths. Try to relax your shoulders and your face. You can roll that ankle on the right side in one direction and then the other if that feels nice. And then bring both legs into your knees, or bring both knees into your chest, and then bring them nice and wide, and then actually hold them behind your thighs and just try to pull them in, but keep your tailbone nice and heavy. And try to release through those hips a little. And then bring your legs parallel, grab onto your left knee now. And extend the right leg long. Reach long through that right leg, reaching through the heel like we were doing before when we were lifting them. And here, just try to release and let everything go. The face, the shoulders, the pelvic floor. No tension. Just the reach. Good, and then bring that leg back in, drop your other leg. And then walk them a little bit wider, and then you can just windshield wiper them while you're up on your block. And then bring your feet to a comfortable position to press into them. Lift the hips, move the block out of the way, and then curl yourself all the way down. Extend your legs, and reach your arms up. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders off the floor. Think about squeezing the block, or if you want to grab it for a second, you can. Curl the tailbone under, reach long through the legs, and then reach all the way over your legs. Go ahead and take your block and sit on it if you'd like. We're going to do a nice little spine stretch here. You want your legs nice and long and sitting up nice and tall, and then bring your arms out to the sides. And then think that you have a stake from the crown of your head all the way down to your tailbone. So your spine is going into the ground. You're going to twist and rotate. Actually, bend the arms, put the hands on the shoulders. And then you're just gonna twist around your spine and then come halfway back and then twist again. And then inhale, come center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, halfway untwist. Exhale, twist, and then come back to the center. The point of your arms being on your shoulders is so that you can't just move your hands past and be like, ooh, I'm getting a great twist. This will help you twist a little bit more through the spine itself. Last one. Good. And then come all the way forward. You're going to reach your arms straight out in front of you. You can keep your legs wide or you can bring them parallel. Don't care, your choice. Keep the shoulder blades on the mat, on your back. You're going to nod your chin down and think that you're peeling yourself away from an imaginary wall as you reach up and over the legs. Ears are in line with your biceps, and then you're just going to peel yourself back up one vertebrae at a time, stacking nice and tall, like you put yourself back on the wall. And if you want, you can literally back yourself up to the wall that's closest to you and do this here. We're going to do a total of 5 of them. And then peel yourself back up. And as you come up, you shouldn't have to move your shoulders forward or back. You really are reaching with the spine, and your arms are just kind of along for the ride. So that's a great way to check in, is when you stack yourself up, your arms just sort of go to that nice neutral place. 2 more. And back up. And last one. And then peel yourself all the way back up. Lower the arms down and come off of your block. Your block's going to come out in front of you. We're not going to use it for a few minutes. You can see the remnants of all the tea I spilled. And then plant your, what is this? One of your arms. It doesn't really matter which one. On the floor, you want your shoulder right underneath, or right above rather, your elbow. And then just make sure that you're not like sticking your chest out so that your shoulder is forward of your elbow. You really want to try to keep that in a nice line. And then here, let your torso and side on whatever side is closest to the ground sink towards the floor, and then bring your top hand to your hip bone. Press your hip bone away as you feel your torso lift, and find that spot where your hips are now square. And then again, you're going to let your torso come all the way down towards the floor. You may notice your shoulder is creeping up towards your ear. First of all, press away from the floor with the arm, and then send that hip away on the top to find your nice neutral position. One more time, letting your hip come down. Notice what happens with your abdominals. Maybe they like completely relax in this position, but as you push them away, they just sort of automatically have to start working, which is what we want. Perfect. Hand on your hip, up towards the ceiling, whatever you want. Your feet are going to stay together, and you're just going to gently externally rotate that left or top leg as you open it up towards the side. You can keep your hand on your hip to remind you, like, I can't sink back down. And then lift up. And lower down. And lift. And lower. 4 more. 3. 2. Keep pressing that floor away. Last one. Good, and then this time you're going to lift your leg and you're going to open it. And then press into your forearm, and you're going to rotate slightly back so that you're on more of the meaty part of your bottom glute. And then you're going to lift your bottom leg and lower. And lift the bottom leg to meet the top, or in that general vicinity. And think that you're not just rocking forward and back off that hip. Really feel the engagement through the inner thigh and the lift of the pelvic floor. And maybe you don't go down all the way to the ground. That's also totally fine. Whatever range of motion works for you. A little balance is required though here. 2 more. And last one. Good, and then roll all the way forward back onto that hip. Extend your top leg long, and then bring your bottom leg underneath you a little bit more. We're gonna come up into a modified side plank here, so find your side plank position, and then you're going to lower your hips all the way down, tap them down just for a second, and then you're lifting right back up. And you're going to tap them down and lift. Good. Think about lifting those hips straight up. Again, lift through that pelvic floor. You can bring your top arm up if you'd like. We're going to pause and hold here. Press the weight into your top foot. Your foot that's on the ground is all the way on the ground. And you're going to lift your knee on the bottom leg up to the top leg. And then lower it down. Your foot can stay on the ground as a kickstand, or you can lift the whole leg. I'm going to leave the kickstand because I haven't done these in a long time. 4 more. Keep pressing the floor away. 3, 2, and last one. Lower the leg and then lower all the way down. Bring the knees stacked one on top of each other, generally, and then just side bend over towards your legs. And then try to reach through your top arm as you relax through the side that's getting a little stretch here on your exhales. One more time. Good. And then sweep your legs around to the other side, and you're going to come onto your forearm, legs stacked, and then again, hand on your hip. Check in with your shoulder, make sure that it's not forward. This is not a very comfortable or stable position. And then you're going to let your torso sink towards the ground, and then press the hip away and just sort of feel everything do what it's supposed to do. Put a little more thought and attention into the lift of the pelvic floor here, but generally you're not doing much. Good. From here, you're going to lift the top and lower down, and lift, and lower. Good. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Leave that leg lifted and then roll back gently. Your torso will come back as well. You can use your hand for stabilization if you need. And then you're going to lift that bottom leg to meet the top and then lower down. Again, find that engagement so it initiates away and then comes into the pelvic floor. And down. 4 more. And then we have the side planks. 2. And last one. Good, and then roll yourself all the way down. Extend your top leg long. Top arm can reach towards the sky if you'd like. You're going to lift up into your side plank first. Make sure you're in a nice stable position here, and then tap the hips down and lift for 8, 7. Good. That pelvic floor is not releasing. The abdominal wall is still engaged. Ribs are together, but you're breathing. Pause here at the top, and then you're going to lift that bottom knee and lower down, and lift and lower for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, pressing the floor away. Last one. Lower all the way down. Bend those knees in toward your body, and then side bend up and over towards your legs. And again, we'll reach through that top hand on your inhale, and then on your exhale, try to release through that side. Two more. And last one. Good, and then come onto all. Actually, before we do all fours, you're gonna come onto your stomach and bring your block out in front of you, and then just gently lower yourself all the way down. Find a nice comfortable place on your stomach, and you're gonna externally rotate your legs, and you're gonna bring them about as wide as your mat. And then normally we just kind of let our legs be relaxed here, but you're gonna pretend that you're on one of those nice wooden and leather raised mats and you're squeezing the edge. So I actually bring my feet just off my mat and I literally squeeze the edge of my mat. For me, I find that to be super useful. So your legs are nice and engaged. Tailbone is tucked under, and then put your arms on your block and slide it away from you. Your forehead can rest on the ground for a moment. And if you have two blocks and this is uncomfortable having your arms this close together overhead, just put one on each block, your choice. Forehead is down. And then from here, you're gonna keep thinking about squeezing that mat as you reach long through the legs and lift them all the way up. And then lower them all the way back down. And then inhale, exhale, feel the pelvic floor lift, that engagement through the inner side of your legs, as well as the calves, the hamstrings, and maybe even the glutes. As you let those legs lift just a few inches off the ground. And lower them all the way down. Good. From here, press your arms into the block and think about pulling it back to you as you lift your chest through. Legs are still squeezing onto that mat, and then lengthen all the way down. Ears come just between your biceps. Press down and slide it in. Your pelvic floor is lifted here as you're sliding in, and then you're not letting it release all the way. So you're keeping that engagement in your abdominals. Your ribs are wrapped and they are not pressing into the floor. Like aggressively, obviously they're touching. And lift. And lower all the way back down. Last one, you're gonna lift and pause here. And then you're gonna lift your right arm up and a little off to the side, and you're gonna bend it into a little goalpost arm, and then you're gonna reach it long. So bend it in and extend. Bend and extend. 4 more. 3, check in with your abs, your pelvic floor, and your legs. Make sure you have weight in your pelvis, your pubic bone, and your hips evenly. You're not in that low back. Lower it a little if you need. Last one, extend that arm long, place it down. Lower yourself all the way down, block slides away. Lift all the way back up, or to whatever height is comfortable. Float that left arm out a little to the side, and then bend it in and extend. Think about using that upper back. 3 more. 2. And last one. And then lower that arm down and then lower your torso all the way down. Let your forehead rest, relax the legs, and give the hips a little shake. Good. From here, find that engagement through your back. Create a little space for the shoulder, or from the ears for your shoulders, and then find that engagement again through the whole leg. Tailbone tucked under, pelvic floor lifts, abs not pressing into the floor, ribs drawing in, and lift yourself all the way up. Pause here, float the legs just a little off. And then lower the arms, lower the legs halfway, and then lift back up. And lower down. And lift. Now you're gonna stay lifted through the torso, lower the legs. You're gonna lower the torso as you lift the legs. And then opposite direction. So lower the torso, lift the legs, and down. So this would be almost like a prep for a full swan dive. 2 more. And lift. And last one. Torso lifts, legs lift, lower all the way down. Everything lowers. Bring one cheek to the floor. You can bend your arms to give yourself a little pillow. Shake those hips out. Bring your other cheek to the floor. And then bend the knees and windshield wiper your legs from one side to the other. Whatever feels nice here. Good. And then bring your block closer to you. And then you're going to bring your hands right by your shoulders. And then you're going to tuck the tailbone under slightly. Oh, good. Tuck the tailbone under slightly. And then press yourself all the way up into that modified plank. And then bring your knees underneath you. Take your block and put it between your knees. Good. hands are right underneath your shoulders, and then let your chest just sink down towards the ground. You're going to inhale, squeeze the block as you press your torso up, and then let your arms, or rather let your torso slide down towards the floor, shoulders in towards your spine, and then press and lift away as you give that block a little squeeze. And then release, and squeeze. 3 more. Finding length through the crown of your head and your tailbone. And last one. Good. From here, you're going to bend your right elbow. And then you're going to, words just absolutely escaped me. You're going to come onto your forearms. And you want your arms, your hands rather, right in line with your shoulders. You're going to squeeze the block, and then you're going to press into your hands, and you're going to peel your elbows and forearms off. And then you're going to send your elbows back towards your hips, and you're going to lower all the way back down. Keeping that little squeeze on the block as you lift up, so your hands are decently far in front of you, and then bend and lower down. Press and lift. Your ribs are coming with you. Abdominals are coming with you. The crown of your head is nice and long. And up. Last one. Good. And then bring your forearms underneath you. You can bring your hands together if that's comfortable, or just have them straight out, your choice. Tuck those toes under. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale. Find the connection of the pelvic floor. Squeeze the block. And then release. Inhale, exhale. Squeeze the block. Next time, inhale. On your exhale, squeeze the block. Press the weight into your heels. Float those knees off. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. So your butt is lifting into the air, but we're on our forearms to try to find that connection through our back. And take a little less, or take a little more of the lever out. Last one. Good. And then lower all the way down. Untuck your toes, and you're going to walk your knees back behind you, and then come up onto your forearms, or rather onto your hands. You were just on your forearms. All right, so your knees are back behind you. Squeezing the block. You can either stay here on your hands and knees, or you're going to tuck the toes under and find your full plank. Your choice. Either way, you are tucking that tailbone under ever so gently. Reach the crown of your head nice and long, and then you're going to squeeze that block as you lower all the way down into a push-up, and then press up. Elbows come back towards your hips. If you are on the floor, your block may touch, that's fine. Just try not to let it limit you. You can take it out if you would rather. Tucking that tailbone under as you press down, and up. 4 more. 3, elbows back behind you. Crown of your head reaches long so your head isn't pushing down before you. Last one. Lift your hips all the way up towards the ceiling. Come into that down dog. If you can, even if you are on your knees, keep that block in between your thighs. You're going to inhale here. Exhale. Give it a little squeeze and see if that helps you find a little bit more length through your spine. Maybe your hamstrings. Bend your knees if you need. Last one. Good. And then come all the way down. Take that block out from underneath you. And then bring your hands as wide as your mat. Bring your knees as wide as your mat. And then sit all the way back onto your heels. Place your forehead on the mat, and then you're just going to rock your forehead, or your head rather, from one side to the other of your forehead. Giving like your face a little bit of a massage. And then bring your arms in just a tiny bit. And then you're going to bend your left arm, and you're going to reach your right arm over. So you can bend your left arm in a bit, and then reach over with that right arm. Your head can be on the floor or gently hanging, whatever works for you. And then keep reaching back through the sitting bones on that right side. Taking a few breaths here. Last one. And then come to the center, bend that right elbow, and then reach over that arm with the left arm. Reaching back through the left sitting bone. 2 more breaths. Last one. Good, and then come to the center one last time. Let your chest release towards the floor, and then think about externally rotating through the upper arms, getting a little stretch across the upper back. Take one more big inhale here, and then exhale. Try to relax a little more towards the floor. And then inhale, and then on your exhale, slowly walk yourself all the way back up to come onto your knees. And then inhale once you're up nice and tall. Reach those arms up towards the ceiling. Externally rotate the arms. Feel the shoulders drop. And then if you notice that you wanted to tip your pelvis forward, tuck the pelvis under. Feel the top ribs, or the front ribs rather, drop. And then press down through the arms on your exhale. And think about growing a little taller through the crown of your head. Let your arms fall by your sides. And you're all finished. Thanks.